Hi, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 3. Today, I'm with three of my friends. We're going to speak about entertainment, media marketing, and technology. Ever imagine a world without entertainment, or marketing, or media, and even technology? Binod would not have become famous as he/it has become. Rasode Mein Kaun Tha would have been just a little dialogue in a television serial. Today, you and I would not be sitting here and enjoying this session had it not been for technology, entertainment, and marketing. With that having said, there's no doubt in my mind that the digital future is already here. We don't have to go in the future, we are already there in the future. Joining me this evening are my three wonderful friends, Neeraj, Rahul, and Krish. I welcome you all, and I'm going to quickly introduce each of you to the audiences. My first panelist, Neeraj Goswami. He is a Senior VP Sales and Distribution with Viacom 18 Studios, Viacom 18 Media Private Limited. With over 2 decades of demonstrated success in film and broadcast media industries, Neeraj has held various leadership roles with Warner Brothers, Inox Leisure, Fame, Shringar Cinemas, Mohan Mekin, and Inertia Industries. He's skilled in film production, monetization, the film business strategy part, as much as he is in the entertainment business. He holds the dual responsibility for the studio's local theatrical release and sales in India and the regionals in India. And for Paramount Pictures, he handles the Indian subcontinent. His distribution strategy is highly appreciated, and he's credited for the success of one of the first studio model-based motion pictures business. A chemical engineer by education, he admits that his biggest incentive to join film business was to watch films and get paid to do so as well. Neeraj, I'm delighted to have you. Welcome. When I started my Candid Conversations Season 1, I opened Season 1, Episode 1 with Anya. Anya is Neeraj's daughter, Neeraj and Avisha's daughter, and she's a firecracker. Neeraj, you have large footprints on this show to fit into.
Thanks.
Rahul Merchant, a very dear friend, is my second panelist. He's the founder and CEO of Luminosity Pictures Marketing. He's also the co-founder of Runaway Luminosity Distribution. Rahul also has 2 decades of relevant industry experience. He's a management student and he has carved a niche for himself and his company. He excels in marketing strategy, new business development alliances, planning and execution, and relationship building. He also has held various leadership roles with Shringar Cinemas, Fame Cinemas, Percept, Inside India, and Bubble Motion. He's a progressive ad sales, marketing, distribution, operations, content acquisition professional, and he has always been ahead of his times. With his current venture, Luminosity, his focus is on marketing and distribution of independent feature films, Hollywood films, documentaries, and alternate content. And he aims to become an integrated studio globally. Rahul, welcome on the show. Delighted to have you, buddy.
Thanks.
Last but not the least is young Krish Velkar. He's a planner at Ogilvy in Mumbai. Krish is an accomplished postgraduate with a double master's in marketing. He has an MSc in marketing and in digital marketing as well. Krish finds emerging technology very interesting, and for his dissertation, he looked to understand what it was like or Alexa can influence purchasing decisions. His piece is there on the internet for you to read. Google it, and you'll be able to read that. He podcasts, he speaks as a guest lecturer or a guest speaker on voice technology and related matters. One unknown fact about Krish is that he is a wonderful writer of topical matters. Every time I read his piece, they leave me to think a little bit more. He's not opinionated, he doesn't push it down your throat, but he leaves you thinking. Krish is a sports enthusiast. He plays cricket at high level. He likes to be well informed on new trends in consumer electronics, and technology fascinates him. As a marketer, he looks forward to winning people's hearts by surprising them. Krish, welcome, buddy. Delighted to have you as well. Let me plug this. Coming Saturday, 5 p.m. on Teachers' Day is my next episode, where I'm going to be speaking with these three educationists on the hospitality education space, on the challenges and the relevance of hospitality education. If it interests you, take a snapshot. The link is there and you can register. Registrations are open. Thank you very much. And with this, I am going to shut this PPT and we will all get back and start the conversation. Hello guys, you can unmute yourselves.
Thank you. What's up?
Thank you.
Hello, thank you so much for the introduction.
Welcome, welcome. Excellent. So, how's COVID treating you guys?
What's COVID?
What's,
Well, it's only 80,000 people a day who have it.
Yeah, it's 1.3 billion, 80,000 a day is nothing. But
excellent.
I think we've had our moments with it, and I think we have to learn to live with it and move on. We can't keep talking about the same thing.
Okay, great. So I'm going to, you guys look a little stiff for some odd reason. So I'm going to ease you guys up, if you may allow me to. Okay. Let's start with you, Rahul.
Yes.
You've been very, very progressive. We've done some wonderful stuff. I want you to, I'm playing a little quiz with the three of you, a very short one, okay? One by one. I'm sorry, I know I promised I won't do that, but that's me doing myself, my own Rasode mein kaun tha with you guys, okay? So Rahul, tell me, what was the first ad placement in any motion picture in the world? Do you think you know that?
No, I don't know that. But I think, no, I don't know that. I have a couple of them, but I don't know if this is the first one.
Neeraj?
No, nothing.
No idea.
Krish?
No idea.
Okay, it was in 1920s, Rahul, a movie called The Garage, and there was a in-film thing on Firestone tires.
Ah, okay, all right.
It was only 100 years ago. Rahul, you want to?
Yeah.
Okay, Neeraj, I'll come to you next. The first film distribution company, a formal film distribution company in India, of India.
Off India.
So what about, was it like the first or?
The first structured film distribution company in India.
Bradstreet?
Who's 100 years old? Must be some South company, I don't know.
Close, but no. It was a US company called Universal Film Company.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
The Southern AVMs and all came a little later.
Nice. Good to
Okay, Krish, simple one for you, technology related. Okay?
Yes.
Very simple, very short and simple.
I'm sure it's not.
Can you name the first official computer? What was it called? Or what was it named?
It was the IBM, if I'm not sure.
Rahul is raising his finger, so Rahul, go ahead.
I think it was the ENIAC, ENIAC, or the EDSAC, any one of them.
Neeraj, you want to take a pot shot at that?
Oh, not at all.
These are IBM mainframes way back then.
Or is it ENIAC or something?
Yeah,
I'm not
ENIAC,
sure.
that's what I said.
Yeah.
So it was called Z3, Z as in Z or Z, the alphabet Z3, named after a German inventor, Konrad Zuse. Okay, that's the first one. So that's a little trivia for you and for me to feel good about me being myself. Okay.
I have a
I was
question
never
for
getting
you.
that.
I have a question for you.
Okay, go.
What is the full form of KFC?
Okay, if it's the kitchen and the F&B space you're talking about, it's Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah.
Okay, and if it's not, then there is a other thing which I will talk to you offline, and I don't want to do it on the screen with audience listening.
No,
Oh, we
I
all
just,
grown-ups here. It's fine.
yeah, it's fine.
Okay, great. Thanks for the fun, guys. Thank you for indulging me. Really appreciate that. I'm going to move straight to Krish. Krish, tell us something about the piece that you wrote in your dissertation. Okay, Alexa, are you a salesperson? It was mainly, kind of trying to understand how digital marketing works, not only, especially in FMCG space, and the kind of uh, I would say involvement it has or makes us compulsorily choose. You want to take a few minutes to tell us about it?
So it's interesting how we humans actually interact with technology. So if you saw in the 1980s or 1990s, we first started interacting with the click, with the website click, and moving with the mouse. Slowly after that, it transcended to the touch, the smartphone, which we're still on. And now what is happening is that we're transcending to this voice first space, and largely simply because it's just at the end of the day simpler to speak. However, there are certain issues in terms of virtual assistants like Alexa really understanding our context and even understanding what we're saying. So we're getting there into a really voice first space, which is why I thought this would be interesting. And now, so right now it's more on a functional level where you interact with technology, like to switch on the lights and very basic functional aspects. But it doesn't act as a game changer to actually sell a specific product. But why FMCG is because FMCG are really low involvement products. So you think less. I mean, how many of you actually know what brand of toilet paper you buy? Just think about it. If Alexa were in your room and you had to purchase a toilet paper, you would probably just say, Alexa, buy me toilet paper, and it would probably just recommend something. So then it becomes interesting to see what would really Alexa recommend, and it also goes back to understanding, like, so if you buy something beforehand on Alexa, then it's not going to ask you again what you want. It'll directly purchase the last bought item. So it becomes really important to be in that evoke set of the consumer. And lastly, the things we say and the way we write is very different. So, and when we speak, we don't really always remember brand names. So like how Google have done it, like we say, Google it, refrigerator, fridge. So I'm trying to get at this aspect of branding becoming even more important and being in the consumer's evoke set at all times, because in a voice first world, you're not going to be reading and seeing all of these things. So it's just interesting how brands are going to live in a voice first world. So yeah.
Okay, thanks, Krish. That was quite interesting. I've read that piece, and I'd urge all the viewers to Google it, if I may say so, and read his piece as well. Krish, we'll keep coming back to you, and trying to weave the technology and the digital part with the other two gentlemen as well. Rahul, I want to, kind of prod your mind on Luminosity. Tell us a little bit about what your organization's all about. What do you do briefly? And one of the things that I know for sure, which has been very close to your heart always, has been documentaries. Okay, and I know that Luminosity is involved very heavily in that. Okay, well, just 1 second. So for the audiences, everyone who's raising your hands, hello back. Here it means you're saying hello to us. The panelists are saying hello back to you. So keep raising your hands. We accept it. The Q&A the button is there for you to put your questions or comments to the panelists. They're restricted to a viewing by 4 of us. I will take it up at an appropriate time. Thank you, Rahul, and everyone who's been, Kshitij, and a few others who've been raising hands. We're waving back at you. Thank you. Okay, Merchant, back to you, buddy. So you want to talk to us a little bit about Luminosity and and also about your love for documentaries, especially.
Yeah, so I think that Luminosity really started out of the need to get out of the mundane job I was doing which was in mobile VAS marketing. And obviously realized that the maximum amount of time I've spent learning professional content marketing has been in film. So I said, let me just start my own company and jump into entrepreneurship, which I has always been keen to do and pursue. And Luminosity was really an idea born out of wanting to help high quality content in cinema, independent in nature, people who love to tell more stories over anything else, and people who value artistic freedom over commerce. And indie cinema as a concept, as a movement, is pretty prevalent in the West and many other parts of the world. And in India, it's kind of given different nomenclatures like parallel cinema and off the road and various kinds of things, because it doesn't find too many people to get on to. Too many audiences. So we just thought that let's start something different, because everybody else is doing similar things, and we said that this is an area where we could find a niche, try and build it, and try and add some value to the filmmakers, because I think that they're the most important people in the game. And we started that with a view to market films, and we have now finished 10 years. There's an indie cinema we do. There's documentaries we do. Documentaries are very interesting because I think that the stories there are extremely compelling, and I think that we all live in a world of fiction and fictionalized entertainment. So sometimes something even very serious kind of goes under the garb of being fictionalized or told differently or making it palatable. But in docus, I think it's just straight up and in your face, right? You can't miss that because it's research based, it's reality, it's just presented the way it appears. So some part of my liking towards cinema is been with docu since a long time. I remember even Neeraj passed on a really exciting documentary to me when I just started. It was a cricket based one called Fire in Babylon. So I think that docus will always hold a special place in my heart. And as a company, we spent 5-6 years doing marketing, and then we moved to distribution with a lot of help from a lot of friends. Neeraj here as well on the panel, and continue to keep that brand of content alive even in our regular work. So we don't do anything and everything, and we don't want to. So I think that we've kind of built ourselves around differentiated content, high quality content, things that require less audiences to come, trying to increase the audience base to understand that there's a little more than regular fictionalized content. And it's an effort. It'll go on and on. There's no end goal onto this, Satyan, because it's very subjective. It's very personally driven. It's about your own choices that make you go towards a particular place, which is where even cinema falls. And so it's just trying to feed in good stories here. At the end of the day, we're part of good storytelling, and that's really important. So that's a journey. We're happy where we are. We're 10 years old now, and we'll keep doing and keep having fun. The challenge, of course, with independent cinema comes is marketing. It allows us to think a lot, allows us to think differently. You have limited resources, limited budgets, and that's what makes it really exciting. I think that I've been fortunate and to learn from Mr. Shroff at Shringar, because he really was one of the pioneers of this while Shringar ran the business, and we learned only great things from him, and that kind of stayed apart. I mean, the heart is always with big commercial cinema, and we love it, and we'll always love it. But this is something that I chose to continue and pursue. It just gives me a weird sense of satisfaction. But so there we are.
Great. Thank you, Rahul. And just not to put any pressure on you and Neeraj, Shyamji is here in the audience.
Yay! Hi, sir.
Thank you, Shyamji, for coming. Delighted to have you. Okay, Neeraj, coming to you, buddy. A little about Viacom 18 Studios, and of course, everyone knows, but a quick couple of sentences on that. And I want you to couple that along with talking about the domination that Viacom has on, if I may use the word, regional OTT content. Yeah, you have a lot of really, you are the market leaders in under the Colors brand. So kind of, if you can club both of that together, it'll be great. Then, it'll be great piece for me to move to connect the pieces for the next questions.
Sure. So yeah, Viacom 18 as a company has been in the business for almost 13 years now. I've been with the company for close to 10 years, and I've been working with the studio piece since 2010. So it's one of the largest, among the top 3 broadcast companies that we have in the country, now getting into multiple businesses like digital, which is actually driving a lot of eyeballs, footfall, not footfalls anymore, but eyeballs now, considering there's pandemic and there is a radio audience sitting at home wanting to kind of look at new content that's coming out in a different way. So the studio business is something that has been, we take great pride in saying it's one of the most profitable studios in the country. We've made some great iconic films, starting from going backwards, Andhadhun, Padmavat. We started the journey with Tanu Vaj Manu. We did Bhag Milkha Bhag. We've done films like Toilet, Oh My God, Special Chabbis, and also, under the Paramount films, we have some great franchises like Mission Impossible and Transformers. So that's what keeps us going on a daily basis. As far as the OTT business goes, we have our own OTT business, which is called Woot, WOOT. And I think it's like you said, I think people get a mix of all kinds of shows these days on various OTT platforms. You have about 10 to 15 OTTs to choose from off the cuff. And then there are many more. I think there are over about 40 OTT players in the business and growing every day, each catering to regional as well as pan India, etc. And we've had great success in some of the shows that have gone out, and we're hoping that the audience base just keeps growing and we keep entertaining people.
Great, thank you. So on the OTT space, I'm going to pick your brains and all 3 of your brains in a bit. But I want to my next piece of queries for all 3 of you. Krish, you can start, then followed by either of these gentlemen, but I'd love to hear all 3 of your comments. So, video marketing is the new craze, okay? It seems to be the new craze, it's going crazy. I want to club video marketing along with entertainment on the go. So some of your thoughts on that from a technology perspective of, obviously, the content is great and stuff, but where is it going to go? What's the future of this? Krish, from you to start with, and then Neeraj and Rahul can also add into the same points on your thoughts, please.
So it's interesting because right now, I think we've heard of this term called cutting the cord, where people are slowly shifting from the Tata Sky set-top boxes and transcending to Hotstar, Netflixes, Amazon Primes, and there are many people who are like really okay with just having these platforms. So I think obviously it is going to be extremely important for brands to be out there. But again, it's important to understand the target audience, because probably the rural areas still have the Tata Skies and all the set-top boxes. So just to really weigh out what it is, the audience that you are after, and eventually I think everything is transcending to the aspect of the OTT platform. So I think it's definitely important to be out there. And the great part about this is that it obviously you can actually micro target, so it understands behaviors, so you know exactly who you want to target, whereas on normal television you really can't do that. So you're really tapping into the right people that you want. So I think great future, and definitely something that everyone will have to tap into ultimately. So yeah.
Thanks. Neeraj, Rahul?
So my view, Satyan, is this. Let's look at it from the consumer point of view. Since the advent of television and subsequently television commercials, you've always had, and before the internet really kicked on in India, you've always had video in the form of television being thrown at you, whether it was short form, whether it was long form, either ways. So you've been indoctrinated since many years on seeing video content. So I don't think it's anything new, in my opinion. You have run to the cinema halls, you've run to your TV to watch Ramayana and Mahabharat, you've seen all the best programs on TV. You even had a VHS player and you bought VHS tapes and you played it on because you wanted to see Billboard Music Countdown or The Bold and the Beautiful. But till and then came Star TV, right? Way back in the early 90s when it revolutionized programming. Quality of programs you saw got better. At all times you have been fed video, and all times you've been fed with a newspaper in the morning, and then you've been fed with audio just now in the last 10, 12 years because of the FM privatization. So I think video is been the primary choice of medium for entertainment, news, and everything content worthy. The delivery platform has now changed and it's now available in your hand, right? It's on the go. It's going to be, you have a watch, you can see content there. You have a mobile phone, you can see it there. And you have many other devices. So I just think the platforms have increased. The distribution has increased, making it more accessible. So now, even if you're sitting idle, you can put it on and watch any piece of content. Had it been 10, 15 years ago, we'd go home, back on, put on the TV and sit and watch it then. So I think that dynamic has changed. There's a younger population now, which obviously has access to all of this, which makes it far more interesting. But largely, I think we're a video nation since day one. Nothing really has changed there. I just think you've given it in the palm of your hand now, and you're going to see more of that. So that's my 2 bits on it.
Yeah, I think video has. So what like we were talking about Alexa, what speech is doing to technology, and I love Alexa because she's the only woman who listens to me at home. What speech is doing to what you can see things around, like Rahul said, now you've got video at the palm of your hand at your disposal. You can actually see short form. So you want to see your snapshot videos of news let's take the pandemic, for example. Newspaper stopped. People just said, oh, let's not get newspapers at home. Virus phelega. Where did you get your news? You were reading it off the palm of your hand. And for people who are dyslexic or have a problem reading or don't want to spend too much time reading or want it playing in the background, you have the same videos playing in short form in the background. So like Rahul said, and videos here, that's the future. And very soon it's only going to be, these devices are going to be all speech driven. So you won't even have to type or Google it. You just have to say, play me this in your kitchen while you're cooking, and you can get your fix of news or the latest recipe that you want.
Okay, great. So, as soon as this show gets over, you're going to get one back in your house for that lovely statement that you made, for sure. Neeraj, 100%.
Fact.
Go for it, Avisha. Okay, my next one to all three of you is do you think that there's an overdose of digital right now? When I say that, and I mean it in a different way, we wake up to digital, we run our whole day through digital, we sleep with digital. Okay, you have related work on digital platform, you have entertainment, and you also want to detoxify using digital medium.
No, it's true. It's all digital. I mean, it can't be anything else. Our life is even going to get more and more, digital is going to get entrenched into our lives. Your medical reports, today, you go to get a medical test done. You don't have to go back to pick your reports up. They get emailed to you. You send that to your doctor. So I'm just saying that it is the future, but it's just going to get better.
Yeah, Chris, go ahead.
Sorry, no, go ahead. Sorry, Rahul, go ahead.
So I think that there are two things onto that side. Spot on with what Neeraj is saying. It's going to get better. It is the future. I just think that there are choices that you can make. You want to read the newspaper? Please subscribe to it. You'll get it at home and read it off the newspaper. But by and large, most of the choices that people are making now is going to be device dependent, right? So you will want for convenience, you will want things coming to you on your device, where you don't have to physically go and get it. So it's a combination of a couple of things. Yes, it's availability, it's convenience, and it's coming through your phone, which is the most basic thing everybody has today. So it's a mix of all of that, but you still have choices to make. I mean, if you want your life simpler, then you'll jump into digital and use that entire ecosystem. If you still are old school, you want to do certain things in the way you have been, it's just one of those things. But ignoring it is going to be at your own peril. Not using it to make your life simpler is going to be stupidity. not embracing it and being happy with it and still finding that balance is really the challenge.
I think I agree with both of you, and just one aspect is that I sometimes find it hard to understand right now. Like the lines between digital are blurred in the sense that now I feel like everything is digital. So I don't know why, like when we're talking about a strategy, we want a digital strategy. I just find it difficult like to understand why do we have to use the D word right now. And I mean, it's just going to be like how we used to use the word internet and the word website, how that is now long gone behind. I think that would happen probably to the word digital, because I mean, literally everything we see and do is digital. And yeah, so I think we're already in a digital era. I mean, technically, even in the 1980s, 1990s, the computer was digital. Television essentially is digital, and voice is only going to get more digital. So we're just going to be surrounded with all of that. So just why call it digital? So yeah.
Thanks, Krish. Actually, I was smiling when you said that, because my next point is actually, the next one is on digital planning. And is it different from a traditional media planning? You work at an organization, in client services, and you help them plan their campaigns and strategies, as much as both Neeraj and Rahul do from a film perspective. But let's start with you, Krish. I rightly said that why are we even saying digital planning or digital programming, if I may say so? But still, print and the traditional media is playing a very, very large role. So is it difficult from a planning perspective and from a strategy perspective to do something different for digital?
So I think
Start with you.
That's a, I mean, very on like point question, because so right now, why is social media getting so much traction? It's probably because it has more numbers, and we are obsessed with numbers. We can track it. It's very easy to track. We can track the views, track the likes, and we get obsessive about it. But the fact is that by looking at a number alone, we're really not looking at into a good perspective. We're not really comparing apples to apples, because it needs to, at the end of the day, be compared to traditional media. And traditional media, sometimes we get to really see a larger, I mean, impact a larger audience. And it's not as compared to like a view. So like, for example, I'm watching, rightly said, you said a newspaper. You spend 2-3 minutes on a newspaper, you're reading it. When you're on a digital ad, you're just doom scrolling, and you're scrolling it like very quickly. So that impact that it would have on a consumer is probably much more on a traditional platform. The only negative is that the problem that people have with traditional is that it can't be tracked. So that's why it's, I mean, everyone is like, no, we have to go digital, and we need so many views, we need so many impressions, cost per clicks, CTRs, and I mean, we just get lost in numbers, and we don't compare apples to apples. So I think that's what it is.
Neeraj?
I think that the size of the country we have, we will still continue to use the word digital because of the marketing mix that we will have. Print is not going to die anytime soon, because it's mass communication. While you can't track it, because when you put a hoarding up, you really don't know how many people have seen it, or the front page of the leading newspaper is booked by all these digital companies themselves, is because of the kind of attention it grabs and the kind of sort of decibels that one doesn't really hear, but a full page ad kiya, front page pe. These things matter. We are still, while there is a matrix saying that, oh, so many million views, so many million followers, all that is great. But it's like, I keep joking with my TV colleagues. I said, when a film does 100 crores and we put out an ad which says film did 100 crores on the full page, it has an impact. You get a rating of 5. Who understands? What does it mean? It's only you guys in the business feel happy about the fact that, oh, you got a rating of 5. Is that good? Is it bad? You don't do that. But so I think it's communication related, and it's what you want to communicate to people. And that's where this whole thing of still calling it a digital campaign or a print campaign or a physical campaign will still matter.
Sure, thanks. Rahul, coming to you on a similar point, but I want you to add a bit on the marketing part of it. Okay, is traditional marketing over and done with? Because whilst what Neeraj said is absolutely true, and so did Krish, but from a marketing perspective, how do you see this anomaly?
So I think that we should not use words and thoughts where one will replace the other. It's never going to happen. Like Neeraj said, each medium comes with its own effectiveness and own purpose, which is why that medium was created. And each of them has its own nuances around it. Now, if you let's understand from where this question, where this perspective is. If you're asking me as a consumer, then I will put out communication where the consumer is going to take it or absorb it or read it or swallow it. So if I don't feel the need to have a hoarding because that customer of mine is not going to look at it and he doesn't, then I won't. So still marketing has always been about tracking the consumer. It is the big C, right? Anything else we do in marketing is only pleasing ourselves. So we have to at all times, and it is often forgotten in the boardrooms. We throw out a lot of ideas, but how and what's the perspective on those ideas is really important. You put the word C, you put the letter C in front of you, it'll all start making sense. So let's look at and keep the consumer always in focus. Digital is never going to replace print, TV, outdoor, radio, and nor are any of those going to replace. The sad part about above the line media or mass media is that you can track some of it, right? But you can't track it at an individual level. I know today that television is the worst tracked mechanism and media vehicle. We have only 30,000 meters in the country, and you're extrapolating data based on 30,000 meters, and you still don't have accuracy in terms of who's watching what. But still there's a business going on, and out of a 20,000 crore budget, FMCGs are putting about 70% still on TV because it just reaches there. You can't take the steam out of that. And I can argue the same with Chris on digital and say, yeah, I'll put it on Facebook and Insta and YouTube, but guarantee me somebody's watching the full thing and he's absorbed it. It's an endless debate. It's really an endless one. I think the smart thing is to really do creative communication, like Neeraj said, really you want the customer, do it creatively, do it smartly. You don't take 3 mediums of choice, you take 4 mediums. It's all a function of the budget, what you're selling, what are the habits. There are too many questions to answer before you fix a marketing plan. All I know is that it's going to be a healthy mix. You have to weigh in on what really you're putting out there, how creatively you're putting it out there, and who's taking it, and who is really the consumer out there for you. You start doing these things correctly, a plan will start surfacing on its own. You really don't need to go by standard formulas and templates.
Great, thank you. So Neeraj, I'm going to start with you with the next one, and then obviously both of them can come in. But this whole OTT space, both in all the languages and the regional languages, it's very, very cluttered, right? It's almost claustrophobic. We're spoiled for choice, channels to programs to even web series, and there is this whole new drama of web series which is being thrown down everyone's throats. How does a company or a programming company manage the programming of all of this? I know you've done some parts of that, so I'd like your thoughts on that, please.
So while my life has been more theatrical, I handle more of, the business of films and cinemas. My knowledge is a little limited, so I'll apologize for making any sort of inaccurate statements. But from what I understand is, like in the digital space, the advantage with an OTT is, exactly who your customer is. You know exactly how much time they're spending on your platform. You know exactly what they like to watch, and it can be made interactive. Why is there a clutter? Well, let me answer your question by saying, do you know how many languages films get made in India? Or how many films get made in India? The simple reason is we have that many languages, we have that much culture, we have that many stories to tell. And thanks to India being what it is, it's not just restricted to films. That same thing overflows even on the OTT platform. Today, if the reason why we talk about the top 3 OTT platforms is because they are the most urban, utilized platforms that all of us go to. But who's benefiting the most on the OTT platform is actually sports. The number one driver of OTT in our country is cricket. It's not films. It is not the other, television shows, etc. But when you have cricket on, that rickshaw driver also, when he has time to kill, is watching it on his handheld device. So what happens is that we put things in generalized baskets. Some shows dekhte, nahi, hum shows nahi dekhte. The biggest driver of OTT today in our country, or for that matter in the world, I think, is sports. And that's the main thing. Is people need to really, especially in the business, in the OTT space, who claim to know their customer, who claim to know exactly what they're watching, how much time they're spending. But in the creative business, it is still make mistakes. And while some shows fire, some don't. But this will go on. And I think there is space for even more, because even OTT space, it's at various price points. And now the latest telecom provider in the country now is bundling OTT along with your internet subscription, which is going to give you nothing but numbers. Now, if you put that in relationship with the business these companies are in, it's a stock market game. It's all about valuations. Where are the next 100 million customers going to come from? It's going to come from this part of the world, because there is concern in another country in this part of the world where you don't have this kind of freedom. So it's, if you look at it wearing your business lens, you'll see it more clearly. But if you were to just put it generally, my answer to your question is space for more. Water will find its own level, and we're going to have more and more OTT players coming in at various price points, from free to premium, and freemium, some advertising driven. So it's going to be a mixed bag, but it's a great time to be in the entertainment space and content creation business.
Rahul?
Of course. So Satyan, one is that let's understand when this OTT thing started in India, right? About 4 years ago with Netflix coming in, and then Amazon, or 3 years ago, whatever. If you look at the marketing jargon I'm throwing, if you look at the bell curve, we're at the bottom of that pile, right? And we're not even like the Western markets growing or plateauing. We're still there figuring it out. And this is just very new for all of us in India at this point in time. Yes, we spent 3 years in understanding, but consumption habit, what to watch, how to watch, when to watch, where to watch, it's all happening simultaneously. So like Neeraj said, there's technology technology is now enabling this to move faster and reach to more people. At the same time, there's a lot more, there is already a set of OTT players and a lot more coming in. There's already a flirting of behavior in terms of what people are watching and what not, but very little trends at this point in time that you can think and say, hey, since the last 5 years, India is watching this. India is not watching anything since the last 5 years, because of the game has just begun, really. So, there is bang on. There is space for a lot more. It's a great time to be in it. But I think that we're just at the surface of it. We are far from growth and maturity yet. We're just below touching the G of growth and saying, hey, listen, we are here now as a nation. Because 3 years ago, you still had cinema and television and your only choices of entertainment. You didn't know that, I can see this, and you could see YouTube, but you didn't have OTT. And now you do. So we just I think we're still grappling. We're still figuring it out. Yes, we're doing it faster than most, I would think, because of the size of our country. But it's a great space to be in, and it's going to get flooded. And it should be, and why not?
Thanks, Rahul. Krish, you have any thoughts on that?
I think, so I've briefly worked in this space, and I think Rahul and Neeraj have really summarized the insights about like how we spoke about cricket being the most viewed aspect on OTT. So I think they've put it well, and I don't really have anything else to add to that. But I think, I think it's definitely growing.
What we missed out is the fact that we are the cheapest country in the world,
data-wise.
And the amount of data we consume as a country, it's massive. And thanks to all the smartphone and you know what? Actually, it's just the smart devices. Televisions have gotten smarter. Handheld devices have become smarter. Because of the pandemic, people are now educating themselves at home. Schools at home. It's become a multi-device household. Earlier used to have one computer, but if you see in the urban landscape, it's now minimum a 2 to 3 computer household. I mean, once upon a time, there was only the man of the house who said, "Mera laptop, my computer, my time." Now we're like, boss, what are you talking about? It's the 8-year-old at home who also needs a laptop just as much as you do.
No, I think that's a very fundamental point Neeraj has made. That if you look at the SEC socio-economic classification that the government has put all of us Indians into, you always had a 1 TV household and you always had 2 TV households, right? The super elite would have 2 TVs, and now you suddenly have a device change and a nomenclature change, and suddenly an SECA household could have 1 TV but 3 laptops, right? So that is what digital brings to you, right? That it just puts everyone at par. The only differentiator then is pricing and availability, right? So it's just that's the beauty. Like suddenly the most elite man or the woman of the country and the rickshawala could be watching the same piece of content on the same smartphone, and that's it.
So I have a pop quiz. If there are 2 people in a car, okay, one is driving and one is sitting in the car, how do you know who's the driver and who's the seat?
You don't.
Come on. You guys both have, by their handheld devices, the seat will have the latest iPhone perhaps, and the driver will have the latest Android phone. Just from the make of that, you can be, I'm not classifying them into seat and driver, but I'm saying that, that is the kind of level of information which is available to companies these days.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm not complaining. I love the OTT platforms. It's just that I'm really confused. Every time a new show comes up somewhere, I have to figure out, is it on an OTT app that I already have downloaded? Just in the last couple of days, I've downloaded 3, which I never paid attention to, purely for one show that I wanted to watch. And then I feel that how many more am I going to keep down? Purely as a consumer, I'm talking about. So if someone wants to kind of find out, and I'm not from your media/entertainment industry, and so probably Rahul, you could take this. Where can I get this information of which shows on which thing? I know I can Google it, but is there some single platform that I can look up to and say, okay, this show is on this OTT or whatever? Please.
Ask your wife.
I know you like data crunching and stuff, so I'll give the questions to you, Rahul.
So basically 2 things, Sat. There isn't, so this is the question really is a great business opportunity. Firstly, it's something that we're working on internally. Secondly, there are a couple of websites called, one is called Let's OTT, second is called Binged. Here you'll get a collation of what's happening across the spectrum. The sad part is that they don't have a recommendation engine like Netflix or Spotify, which is critical to triggering you to go watch a particular show because you like that particular genre or style of narrative. But yes, there are a couple of services, not that great, not that hot, but otherwise you'll have to just listen to, like Neeraj said, your wife, or ask your friends, or get the reviews, and you listen to 5 friends say, oh, haven't you watched Money Heist? And oh shit, yeah, I have to. It's one of those things. But it's going to be like that. Even if there are 3 other services like that, I feel that it's going to be largely dependent on people telling you to go watch something, or your own personal reason to watch it. It could be your favorite heroine or favorite hero is in that, and so on and so forth. But it's a great business opportunity, though. There's a service that begs to be made.
TV watching has become more expensive now. Earlier, you used to pay $300 or $350 for 300 channels. Now, you're paying for data. You're paying subscription fees. You're spend. So if it was just like $300 a month, now your premium OTT subscription starts at 450 rupees.
And yeah.
So times are changing, but are we saying that people are complaining about it? No, people have adapted because everybody has moved on. But that's a challenge. So somebody I knew who lived in Nalasopara, and so I just asked him. I said, so what do you do for your if you want to watch certain shows? So he says, sir, I watch it on my phone. So don't you have internet cable in your area? I say, हमारे यहाँ cable नहीं है, हम सब dish लगाते हैं. So I'm saying, look at the opportunity. There's so much to cover. In spite of we saying that we are one of the largest internet market growing companies or the countries in the world. Hey, land up in Nalasopara. There's opportunity there.
Great, thanks. Krish, I want to come to you. when I generally speak on, generally if you speak to people across who are not from the industry, and like how you guys are, and you say digital marketing, I would say about 80-85% of the people will think it's social media, right? They associate digital marketing with social media, which in the last few days, because I was preparing for talking to you guys, I realized it's not. I was also in that space. So I really want you to help us and the audiences and me to understand how does one differentiate, technically, digital marketing and social media.
Within this sphere of digital marketing, like social media, obviously, because I think 80%, from what I've heard, 80% of digital marketing is largely social media, and largely what I see right now happening is social media companies call themselves digital marketing companies, and they're not really catering to the whole realm of possibilities. So I mean, you can look at technologies like augmented reality. You can look at how you can use virtual reality. There is also a little bit of mixed reality. There is a little bit of even data analytics. And I think the point is that not to really cut that or be too focused on one specific aspect and call it digital marketing, but rather call it just get to your objective of point A to B without just saying that, okay, I want a digital strategy. That strategy could be, I mean, traditional could actually be better for you, but just not cutting out that, like, for example, I think Lenskart did something very beautiful. I mean, they had this augmented reality, web AR, where you can just try out specs. And it's not forced technology. And what happened in the lockdown is we can't go to a spec shop and really buy. We don't want to do that. But I had to buy specs. So you could easily just look and see how that augmented reality app, how I would look in specs, and I bought the specs and it looked very similar. So it's really how technology is trying to help achieve and solve a problem. Because what you see, you see a lot of not great use cases and forced technology just because, we want to look and show, we are doing AR, we have an AR or we have a VR product. So it's just about opening the possibilities and not restricting yourself to a specific set of things. So yeah, I think just don't call it digital, just call it, I think, marketing at the end of the day. So yeah.
Okay, so great. You've been very vocal on saying that don't call it digital, but sadly, my friend, size of this country and the access that people have to understanding what digital is, it's going to stay for a long time. I mean, it's for me also. I keep saying digital, but I know half of it is already digital. But we'll have to just live with it. Rahul, I want to come to you with the next one, buddy. I worked with you many years ago. And I've always felt, and I do know you've always been ahead of your times. A couple of years ago, you did a launch of a movie called The Isle of the Dogs, where you invited pets into the multiplexes. Okay, and you and your team did some stuff about, giving them a bath and pampering them and stuff like that. Where do you get these ideas from, my friend? Then talk a little bit more about that, please.
Firstly, we didn't give them a pampering, but yeah, so it is a film called Isle of Dogs by Wes Anderson, and we got the opportunity to distribute it and market it through in India. It was a commercial transaction we entered with Fox Searchlight, erstwhile Fox Searchlight, now Disney, and again, I think films like these are meant for specialty audiences and not too many. And when you know that you're dealing with a special interest group, as I would call it, or a passion group, then you know that you can have fun around it. And the movie was great fun. It had the most amazing voice cast that you can think of, some 20, 15 of them, and all really big names like Scarlett Johansson and so on and so forth. And I just think that we consciously try to sit in a room and think of just wacky stuff to do, or differentiated stuff to do. I mean, there is hygiene that we have to do, like social media and other stuff. But there are other things that we just continuously try and see how we can get people excited. Why? So that if that small idea has the ability to get so much of media and amplification, then the communication will reach slightly bigger audiences, right? So while you attack the niche, you also want a wider set to come in. But it's ideas like these that kind of we just kind of keep thinking. Some of it comes from my crazy mind. There are other crazy people in my team as well. But we just love the ability to keep thinking differently, because we get that kind of content to play with. So, differentiated content allows us to think differentiated. That's the only thing. I mean, everybody has ideas. All of us here on the table have some great ideas too. But I just think that sometimes those that we believe can work. And I think that's the difference, really. You need things that work.
Thanks, Rahul. The reason I brought it up, and my next part is still not over as yet to you, is that yes, it's a feel good, it's a niche market activity, if I may use that word. You get the right eyeballs, the right look and feel. But does it make money?
So ideas don't make money, Satyan. I think ideas lead to things that translate, trigger an action, right? So great communication on a great idea, if which is marketed correctly, will get the right set of people to consume what you're trying to say. At that point in time, the audiences will consume that idea only to know that, hey, this movie is finally here, and I read some great articles, I saw some great stimulus on this film. Let me go check it out. So it eventually does that job, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we're limited by resources, not by ideas. So we push, and in the hope that people will absorb it. So a business at one end, but if it's purely marketing, then it's got to be the ability to aid it, to create an impact, so that you eventually go and buy that. So it works on the advertising principles, right? Awareness, interest, desire, and action, and that stays. Those are principles that will always stay. So at the end, you're hoping for action, but if you don't, at least you've got people excited about it. So the action is where the money is and the ROI is.
Great, thank you. Neeraj, I'm going to come to you. We are in this wonderful country of ours, nation watching movies, and we are at this threshold of multiplexes and cinema houses opening, not opening, when are they opening, etc. So we all know about that, what we read. My question straightforward to you is that as and when we do open up, is there content?
Content is there, but the big content is either pushed to next year or has already gone to OTT. The reason why I say that is because it's when you make a big film, and when I mean a big film, a big budget film, which is multi-starrer, a lot of money has been spent on producing it. Everybody wants to encash their investment, like any business. You put in money, you create a product, and then you want the product to either sell or people to start consuming it, so you can get your return on investment. Certain producers chose of saying that cinemas are shut. We will let go of the glory that cinema box office gives you. And from some of us who are in the business will understand this, the joy of finding out how the film performed on a Friday, first day, first show, eventually how much was the business first day, first weekend, things like this, who are in the theatrical business very actively pursue. That is something that a lot of producers decided to let go of, and there was a great opportunity. So they were getting to cash in on their investment. The film was going to that audience for whom the film was made. People started consuming it on a different medium, which is basically a television or a handheld device. And some films said, no, our film is meant for the big screen, and we've got capacity to hold on to our investments. And a lot of films have been pushed to 2021 by when we will either have a vaccine or it'll be safe enough to go out in a theater and enjoy the experience that one gets sitting in a dark room with 300 people. Is the OTT experience taking away from the cinema experience or replacing it? No, it doesn't. I think a cinema experience, family viewing, human being always likes to cheer the hero, clap for him, enjoy the song, maro the CTs, throw the paisa, do arti of the cutout. These things are ingrained in the way we've been brought up and we've been consuming films. So I think it's just a stopgap arrangement that some filmmakers decided to kind of opt for. And very soon, so there's going to be a bit of a gap where you won't get to see that big film because there are going to be restrictions. You don't want to sit in a house full theater for all the reasons we know, safety precautions. But in terms of if there's going to be a business impact, maybe certain films will say, let's take that hit. Let's not come now, and let's come next Christmas, next Diwali, next Eid, because we missed out this year. So it's a small blip, like a speed bump that we've hit, but I'm sure we'll be back as we were. I mean, we all love films.
And you missed the popcorn and the samosa part.
No, that is not a problem. Popcorn and samosa is still available. As long as there's a Guru Kripa or a Swiggy near you, the samosa is definitely available. But the whole joy of sitting in a dark room with 300 people munching your popcorn, nachos, and now you have like a mini food court in most theaters. So it's not just limited to samosa and popcorn anymore, buddy.
Great, thank you. Okay, so audiences, I'm moving to my last bit of it. The question answer session's open. I've got a few questions. I'll take them after that. So for those of you who've joined in late and want to pop in questions, please feel free to do so. Whilst I take the last point with Krish. Krish, I'm coming to you with a point from my side. What, in your opinion, would be an ideal marketing plan for you, for your customers in today's day and age?
To be honest, you can't have an answer to that. It highly depends on your specific brand and consumers. But the only suggestion I would say is that don't, as I said earlier, don't restrict yourself to thinking in a myopic direction and just having hell bent and stuck up on certain aspects, because things change and you need to be open to all the possible avenues out there. Like for example, even social media, the platform is always changing. Don't be too obsessive about like TikTok, like just what just happened. So so we can't really be stuck on anything, and just as a marketer be very open to the changes in consumer behavior, and just keep understanding, keep watching, keep listening, keep understanding your audiences, and I think that will help you really craft a great marketing plan.
Great, thanks. Okay, Rahul, I'm reading out a few questions. There's one from Arjun. I think you would be the right one to answer this. Documentaries are also viewed less, but thanks to the OTT, this culture is growing. How does one market the Indian documentary viewing to audiences?
So I think it's driven. If you ask me, my marketing plan for documentaries is to starts with identifying people who have been watching it or like that kind of content. It's very difficult to find those groups, but you have to do a little bit of digging to understand where they really are and what they consume. There's been very limited or none, not frequent documentary releases on theaters. They're largely digital platforms. So I think if you're creating a documentary, then you should know very well that India is not the best market for it. It can be created and premiered on an OTT platform or sold to them, or entered into anything that's digital, because it will allow you greater access to bigger audiences in terms of numbers. However, if you have a documentary and if you and which is slightly more let's say mainstream, if you have a documentary on a musician or a sportsman or somebody like that as a subject matter, or a politician for that matter, then a lot more people can get interested. So it really depends, and then you can go the traditional theatrical way and so on and so forth. But yes, marketing wise, it's going to be focused, targeted, lots of digital there, lots of passion interest groups, lots of people who like-minded content, and so on and so forth.
Thanks. I guess, Krish, this one's for you. The others are welcome to comment. It's again from Arjun. He says FMCG has always been a content-led digital play. How good or bad are we in that space? Any thoughts on that, Krish?
So I think one good case study, I think what I could just dive into is what happened, I mean, at the Super Bowl, I think Super Bowl ads are great and they're big. And in 2013, what Oreo did was that I mean, the lights went off, and they had this wonderful tweet that said that that you can still dunk in the dark. So and that tweet went viral. It got amazing impressions. It got like it. I mean, Marketing Week, all the great publications said that it was the I mean this social media tactic won the ad of the year, and it was only blown out of proportion. And so the point. So when you compare the more followers that Oreo actually had. Uh, I mean, and you can compare the number of followers to its actual consumer base. I mean, it would be only probably 2-3%. So FMCG brands are really large consumer bases, and social media. I mean, the amount of followers that you have is only 2-3%. So I mean, so traditional for social media, traditional advertising for FMCG is, I can't like stress the importance of it. So I think I don't know if that helps, but I just wanted to give some perspective.
Great. And let's club his next point also again. What's more effective? And all of you can jump in. Digital advertising, programmatic, social media, performance. Any thoughts on that? What is the ideal mix when it comes to brands?
I think we spoke about this. It's like, you know, what Rahul specifically said. It depends on what your consumer is looking at, who you're targeting at.
Yeah, I mean, can't have a generic answer.
Great. Then I'll move to the last one. Thanks, guys. And oh, there are two more. So there's Mr. Vyas. Thank you for coming back again. Really appreciate you being here every time. So Harsh is asking, do you all think rural marketing will be affected if digital can penetrate our rural areas? India is still close to 80% rural. I think this was answered, but maybe some specific. Do you think rural marketing will be affected if digital can penetrate our rural areas? Anyone wants to take that?
Yeah, I can give a generic answer to that because I don't know the product or service in question. But I think that one of the reasons that big, like Neeraj touched upon earlier, one of the reasons that the big telephone companies are banking on is the fact that, you know, India is so vast and majority of its population is in the hinterland. So tele-density is a concept, and I think India is almost reaching 100% of that, which basically means everyone kind of has a telephone in their hand. That doesn't mean that they have a smartphone. So I think that's the next level of effort that is going to get into, where people will start getting a device or some sort of a communication receiver. Once that happens, I think it will be easier for a lot of brands to access that consumer. Currently, if you look at P&G and HUL, they do a lot of ground activations and do a lot of street kind of stuff, traditional stuff, which still because it's maybe they've realized through research that, you know, digital is still yet to make an impression there. But yeah, if you put digitization there, and if you put a smartphone in the hands of these people at an affordable price and great cheap data plans, then I think any brand can land up marketing it to that consumer.
Yeah, but the challenge still continues to be literacy. So
So
it'll have to be audio visual. You'll have your ads will have to play out like ads, because if there is somebody in the hinterland and they speak a certain language but they don't know how to read and write it, then the only way to have an effective communication is that you have an audio visual ad spot.
Yes, absolutely.
You're going to get smarter. Yeah,
absolutely.
And just to add to that, actually, the voice space in the rural areas is going to be really interesting, because there are many people who actually don't know how to write, but they can speak. So probably that the penetration of that would be key, and you have a lot of conversational ads on the rise too. So I think that would be interesting.
So good, Krish, that's something that you can take to your new future clients and pitch for a voice-based marketing pitch. All the best for that one. I've got, gentlemen, I've got Chef Satish Arora. Thank you, Chef. Namaskar. Thank you once again for joining in. Neeraj, Krish, and Rahul. He's a industry veteran, and he's been following the webinar series, and he's thanking us. He says very informative, for a person like me, always interested in the hospitality related topics. Thanks to Neeraj, Rahul and Krish to load us with knowledge. Satish Arora, that's Chef Satish Arora for you. And my last comment from the audience is Hitesh. He says, very insightful discussion, kudos. Liked the example of the cricket match. We'll wait to understand the programming well of the OTT before dumping the set top, hopefully soon. Cheers, Hitesh. Great. Excellent. And Rahul's raising his hand again. Hi, Rahul. Once again, thank you so much. We're all having a great time. So, gentlemen, thank you. I've had a wonderful time. Quick closing comments from the three of you, very, very quickly, before we say bye-bye to the audiences and each one of us.
Yeah, you can dump that set-top box. I have not had a set-top box in my house for 2 years. And everything is now digital. It's a smart device. You can watch, you can start the show on your handheld device, cast it on your TV, catch it up while you're in the car. I tell you what, set-top box is a gone thing. It's just obsolete.
My closing comment is cool. I mean, keep watching content and enjoy the journey. I think we're on a great ride. I think we should just all jump on as consumers or as creators, and that's going to be the beauty.
Krish, last words from you.
I think just as a marketer, I would say just be as open to change and just keep understanding your consumers even better. So yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen. I've had a great session with all three of you. Learned a lot, genuinely, and I say it with a lot of humility. Thank you, audiences. You've been wonderful, and have a wonderful evening. Stay safe, all of you. Neeraj, Krish, and Rahul. Thank you once again, guys. Really,
Thank you, Satyan.
doing this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.